It is apparent from Seán Morgan that he is grateful for the many positive influences which shaped his early years. Over to you, Seán. You were very young, Seán, when you started the football.
Yes, Mackie, we started to play football at Scotstown School. Master Seán McKenna, who was our teacher, great man for the Irish language, as you would know, he also had an interest in football. And I suppose what I remember most about Seán and the football was that he emphasised that we get a strength in our weaker foot. In fact, 2 days a week he insisted that we could only kick the ball with our weaker foot.
And which was your weaker foot, Seán?
Well, both, neither of them were very strong.
Right.
But another thing that made a big impression on us at that time was the successes of the Scotstown underage teams. Scotstown won a juvenile championship under 16 in 1956. They won a minor championship in 1957 and a minor league in 1958. And the players of those teams were our heroes then. And of course, on the schoolyard, we were trying to, be as good as they were.
That's right.
And we wanted to be as good as they were when our day would come.
I remember some of the lads on those teams, Seán, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Jimmy McKenna and Jimmy Padley.
Well, the names that come to my mind are Jimmy and Fred McKenna, Prentice McKenna, Oney and Hughie Connolly. Of course, they were from all over the parish. You had people like Jim Sewell, you had Mickey Ford and Oliver Carley, and those are the ones that I can remember.
Right. Now, you'd have finished Scotstown when you were about 12 or that, were you?
No, I finished at 14.
Oh, 14.
Yeah, 14.
But we had any underage football?
Oh yeah, well, I remember Hugh McCaig holding kind of a trial match in Sheskin for both Scotstown and Killycarnan school players.
What year was that?
That was 1958.
All right.
And following from that, I remember well Seán Hegarty and Jimmy Sherry collecting a number of us to take us to play for Scotstown under 14 team.
All right, there was no under 12 competition that time?
No, under 14 was the youngest that time.
What was that cup?
It was the McHugh Cup.
All right.
Now in 58 we got to the final of the competition and were beaten, but in 1959 we won the competition.
All right.
In fact, that was Scotstown's first ever juvenile success.
So then, who did you say collected you?
Seán Hegarty and Jimmy Sherry.
And would you be collected let's say, for home games? Because Scotstown's about 4 miles from Scotstown.
That's right. No, we were collected for all the away games, and for home games we made our own way. Right. To Scotstown.
All right.
And in fact, occasionally maybe you would be in Scotstown for some reason. That they wouldn't have to come to collect you for a home game.
Right.
I remember one time in particular that we were at sports, a few of us were at sports in Scotstown during the day, and we had a away game that evening.
All right.
And Jimmy Sherry took us all into their home house in Strathcunyon for our tea.
And that's the home place there?
That's right. And I remember, that was the first time that I ever had seen Bridget Sherry.
In the long lane?
In the long lane by the priest's house.
All right.
And
the first time, but Bridget was older than you.
Yeah, but just what I remember was the lovely tea she made us that evening.
So you mentioned 59 there, that was the McHugh Cup, isn't that right?
That's right, yeah.
First time to win it?
First time to win it, first time for Scotstown to win any juvenile.
And you don't remember who you played or anything?
Oh, I do. I remember we played Mahercloon in the final.
Right.
And we were successful.
Because I think I heard Seán Hegarty maybe talk about that match. Was that match played after a bigger match or something?
Yeah, it was played after an Ulster Championship match in Castleblaney. As far as I can remember, it was Armagh and Cavan. We played beforehand. And the other thing I remember about that was Michael O'Hare was broadcasting that match.
But not at your match. No. He was broadcasting at who was Armagh and Cavan.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, okay. Now, just about that team, Seán, that 59, that was a juvenile team.
That's right.
Can you remember any of the lads that was?
Yeah, well, I remember from Scotstown there was John Pat Corrigan, Jimmy Traynor and myself. And then from the Tidavnet era, there was people like Oliver Moon, Joey Brady, Jeannie McCaig,
Right.
And then most of the other lads came from around the Scotstown area.
Yeah.
People that I can remember was Frank McAloon,
Right.
Barry Sturt, Seán McCaig, Oliver Caulfield, and you know, that's
yeah, you mentioned Oliver Moan there. Was he from Dorilla? Would that be Moan's shop, would it?
Well, it's down below Tidabna.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. So that was 59 then?
Yeah.
Good start, Seán, like, you know, so then you're moving into, that was under 14, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So then you go on ahead then into under what?
Well, in fact, basically the same team won the next year in 1960. Won a Murray under 16 competition, but that was with Knockatallon.
All right.
So that was basically the same team.
But were the Scotstown lads, would they have played with Knockatallon then?
Yeah, we're all right. Parish team.
Oh, I get the idea. Yeah.
In both cases.
Yeah, that was that's Murray Cup under 16.
Yeah.
So that's 1960 now.
1960.
No memories of 61. I'm not expecting you to remember 61. Obviously, you wouldn't.
The next that I can remember was virtually the same. A lot of the same players again had a great minor run.
All right.
That was
60.
In 1962, 1963, and 1964. We reached the championship final.
Right.
To be beaten in the 3 years.
Well, I remember funny enough, I remember the 62 one because it was played in at Gavin Duffy. I don't know whether you remember much about it, but there was a fierce row at it. Yeah, I don't
remember much about the row.
Right.
I'm aware there was a row. It was against Castleblaney.
Yeah.
I do remember that we were beaten in that. In fact, it was a draw and we were beaten in the replay.
Right.
And you know, people that I remember from that team, you know, as well as the under 14 names that I mentioned earlier, you had people like Evan Quigley on that team, and
Jim Mohan as well.
Jim Mohan, Brenton's brother.
That's right.
Jerry Corrigan from Derry-Ard.
Right.
Only Ned McKenna.
Right.
Angelo McNally, Pat McQuaid, who was to become the physio with the club,
right.
and who has sadly passed away since that. Alan Sewell, Sean Hanley, and Dermot Ford from Ballinode, and Pat Deary. That's the actor.
Oh, good man,
in fact,
Pat.
He was fairly good at acting on the field as well.
Well, he made the team anyway, Seán, so you can't begrudge him that. But sure, that was a successful team, wasn't it?
Well, as I said, we didn't win any minor championships, but we did win the minor Maguire Cup.
That's right.
In 64 and 65.
Oh, very good, yeah. Now, again, Seán, because I think you can't contradict me in this, you were into senior or adult football fairly young too.
That's right, Matthew. Eamon Keenan and myself were kind of thrown in at the deep end as minors into senior football.
You were still minor age, but you were into senior football.
That's right, yeah. As a matter of fact, Eamon was a year younger than me, so he was very young to be thrown into it.
Yeah.
The first game that I can remember playing was in Three Mill House, I think. And the names, two names that stick in my mind from that day on the Three Mill House team were Bryony Murphy, who was a famous referee after that.
Was this senior football now, was it?
It was certainly adult football.
Oh, adult football, right.
And were senior at the time, so it had to be senior.
Yeah.
And another name was a fellow called Henry McCarville.
All right, yeah. Now, I remember that's the Bryony Murphy that used to referee, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
I think he delivered coal as well,
he
isn't
did
that right?
as well.
That's right, yeah. So, now, we're talking about senior football. 64. Are you as far as 64 yet?
Yeah, well, in 64, Scotstown reached the county final,
right.
and Eamon and myself were both on that team.
All right.
And we played Blaney in the final in 64,
right.
and were beaten. But the thing that sticks most in my mind about that day was the fact that Seamus Mulligan. Seamus Mulligan from Three Mill House had transferred to play for Scotstown, and I'll never forget the roar of the crowd when he came out on the pitch.
How come Seamus Mulligan was playing for Scotstown, Seán?
Well, Seamus, as you know, had been a very good player in his earlier times. In fact, as an 18-year-old, he won an All-Ireland Junior medal with Monaghan in 1956 and was a constant member of the county team from that until he developed a serious eye problem,
right.
and he had to stop playing football sometime in the early 60s.
But did he get transferred or something?
At this time, he was working in Sherry's factory in Scotstown.
Oh, right.
And he was cajoled by, I'm sure you could guess, by whom.
Wee Jimmy would say, Pat as well,
probably,
Eddie.
and others, to transfer to Scotstown for the county final, which he duly did.
All right.
And had a very good game on the day. And he continued to play with Scotstown for the next 2 years.
Oh, yeah, because I remember in terms of championships, those were kind of lean years for Scotstown. Blaney were the big team that time, isn't that right?
There's no doubt about it. Blaney were in the middle of a 5 in a row at that time.
Yeah.
And they subsequently beat Scotstown in 1966.
Yeah.
County final as well.
But it was just that they were missing out on championship, Sean. They were still successful enough, Scotstown.
That's right, Mackie. We just couldn't get the championship from Blaney. We were always able to beat them in the leagues. In fact, we won a number of leagues during those years.
And there was, when you talk about league, Sean, just correct me if I'm wrong, there was a Hackett Cup at the time, was there? Yeah,
the Hackett Cup was the senior league at the time.
Right.
In later years, the Owen Ward Cup became the senior league.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I know that by 1966, when we reached the final, much of the 60 and 61 team had gone.
Yeah.
We had people like Oney Connolly, Brendan O'Neill, Big Jim Sherry, Jim Sewell, and Eddie Sherry. Still there.
Oh, still there.
Still there. In fact, Eddie was there a long time.
Oh, he was. He started, I think about 53 of that, you know.
Yeah, I know he started well back.